Whether you're on the road or in the comfort of your own home, Capital OTB is the better choice.
Summer at Saratoga, and there's no better place to watch all the racing action than right here on OTB TV. Each morning, the Handicappers Report brings you selections and analysis from our professional handicappers. Then stick around as the biggest names in racing join us live from the backstretch. The top trainers, jockeys, and racing personalities all share their unique insights and observations. For more than 20 years, there's been just one place to turn for unparalleled coverage of the Saratoga Racing Meet, Capital OTB and OTB TV.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Before the break, we said Joe Rocco will join us, and here he is, jockey Joe Rocco Jr. Good morning, Joe.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Happy to have you on board. And first things first, just got to ask you, I think I know the answer. How satisfied are you with your first full season at Saratoga?
I'm very happy with how it's going so far.
It's certainly, I pulled up the jockey standings. You're sitting about 12th. You're sitting exactly 12th on the list right now in a very tough jockey's room. That's a nice place to be. And with a couple of nice stakes victories on the resume, certainly nothing to sneeze at there. Let's just go back before we start looking at some of the races in particular. But I want to go back. Obviously, there's a family connection, and I'm sure that was the impetus. But just tell us a little bit about what moved you to become a jockey.
It's all I can remember I wanted to do. My grandfather was a trainer. My mom trained a little bit. My dad rode for years. Since I was a little kid, that's all I've ever wanted to do.
And I was over at the jockey basketball game last night, and I think we actually have a couple of shots of Joe Rocco taking a jumper or playing a little
shooting
defense.
an air ball, maybe.
And, yeah, there a little practice jump shot there, nice form. And another shot will come up of you playing a little defense. But just curious, as a kid, did you play a lot of sports?
Yeah, I did. Wrestling was probably my biggest sport, but I played everything: soccer, basketball, baseball.
And it's not unusual we get jockeys in here. In fact, Joel Rosario was in the other day, said early on he was hoping to become a baseball player, but size caught up to him and he shifted over to become a jockey. I'm assuming with your family connections, you always wanted to be a jockey.
Yeah, since I was little. Any weekends I was either with my dad at the racetrack or on the farm with my grandfather, and all summer long, the same thing.
And give us a little idea, again, with the family connection. Obviously, there was an easy way into the game, but take us from wanting to be a jockey to becoming a jockey.
All that when I was younger on the farm and all that. Probably when I was like 13 or 14, I'd shed row horses for my grandfather at Timonium. And then it really got serious when I started working for Sam Crunk in Delaware, and kind of come up under him, and went to Tampa with him. And my dad actually had a lot of business in Maryland at the time. And he left Maryland and came to Tampa for the winter, more or less to get me started riding, and just kind of went from there.
And so, how's that process start? You start exercise riding, and then when do you make when you know you can make the transition?
Well, really, you're supposed to start from the ground up. Like I've groomed horses, hot walked horses. I've done everything. Led horses to the paddock, and more or less the right way to do it is you move forward when you're told you're ready to.
And I would imagine that then makes a difference who you're teamed up with. And now you were teamed up with your father, but if you have somebody who's really looking out for you, it's probably a better situation.
Absolutely. I'm very fortunate that I had a lot of people, not only my dad, but once I started riding, his friends that were jockeys and everyone, I had a lot of help, So when I see younger kids start and everything, I try and help them just because I feel like I should.
Yeah, and you say you started your career down in Tampa. Do you remember your first winner?
Rainbow's Raja for Sam Crunk.
Everybody remembers the first winner. You still have the photo?
Oh, yeah. He asked me if I wanted to win my first race, and I said, yes, of course. So he put me on a steamer.
Oh, nice. There you go. Very good. Also, I found it interesting, bio notes. You won your first stakes race for Alan Jerkins.
Yeah, Nice Mare, house party.
And that was out of town, correct?
That was at Delaware. I was riding in Delaware at the time.
Was Alan there?
No, his assistant was.
Okay, still got to be nice to win one for the giant
my dad
fella.
came up under him. That's who my dad worked for before he started riding, so it kind of meant a little more.
All right, and now, as noted, we'll get into some of the races that we'll take a look at. I want to touch on just the the other day here at Saratoga early in the meet. The Prioress, we're going to watch the number 4 Lighthouse Bay get the job done under Joe Rocco Jr. And reading the story about this race, George Weaver didn't have a jockey plan, went into the jocks room and took you. So I'm thinking this had to be really special. A, grade 1 race at Saratoga. B, when the trainer has enough confidence to reach into a really tough jockey's room and pick you out. Tell us how special this grade 1 win was up at Saratoga.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for the opportunity that George and the Pollards gave me to ride her, and really impressed with her how she ran that day. And obviously winning at Saratoga means a lot, especially to my first year up here to win a grade 1 the first week of the meet. I think it's helped with business for sure for the rest of the meet.
And how much fun is that? I ask trainers and jockeys the same thing. Saratoga is such a different atmosphere than other tracks around the country. How much fun is it to win? It's the big show, and you got 20,000 people in the stands.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Like you said, the atmosphere, it's really easy to get into it up here.
You had another stakes win up here also, the Evan Shipman on Bigger is Better. We don't have the video of that, but that was kind of a ding-dong battle. Was not the rank outsider, but was a dime under being the longest price in the field at 11-1, so that was a nice win also.
Yes. I was, once again, very thankful for the opportunity. Junior Alvarado unfortunately got hurt, and that's how I picked that horse up. And
we're also going to pick up some video here of a horse I really like, Tismis Sue. We're going to watch this one winning the Grade 1 Ogden Phipps, and I believe this was your first Grade 1 victory of your career,
yes,
which was only about a month and a half ago, so you strung a couple Grade 1s together pretty quickly. But Tismis Sue is one of those horses that just has kind of been knocking at the door of being a Grade 1 winner. Bang, gets it done here in the Ogden Phipps. You've been a regular rider for her. You've been down riding in Oaklawn on this horse. And as I say, she's a real hard knocker, a favorite of mine. She gets it done here in the Ogden Phipps for trainer Steve Hobby, and you have a good relationship with him as well.
Yeah, it meant a lot to me because I'm friends with Steve Hobby and the owners and the whole crew, Steve's wife Mitzi, and just, I've ridden for them for years, and that mare, riding the horse for a few years, you kind of build a relationship with the horse and see them really get better. It really meant a lot. I'm happy for the horse. She really deserved it.
And how important is that? Just a nuts and bolts question of being a jockey, that to have ridden a horse over the course of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 races to kind of maybe get to know their habits. How much easier is it to ride that one than getting on one for the first time?
Depends on the horse, Some are easier to ride than others. Tismis Sue's kind of a real finicky mare. She kind of has her certain way that you have to do things with her. So knowing her definitely helps.
And as we said, this is your first season up here at Saratoga. What are some of the other tracks you've ridden at over your career? Mostly
in the Mid-Atlantic, around Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey. And I used to go to Tampa in the wintertime sometimes. Before we came up here, I was mostly in Delaware and went to Miami a couple winters ago, and then went to Kentucky and then back to Miami. So now it seems like the Kentucky-Miami circuit's going to be what it is. And just from reading some of the info on you, you stated that getting married, having a family has kind of settled down and made a circuit a little more of a priority for you as opposed to bouncing around maybe you did early in the career. Absolutely. Early in my career, I moved way too much. And since I've been with my wife, I don't know, things just click. Since we've had our kids, it gives you a reason to get up and go to work in the morning, that's for sure. I'll ask another nuts and bolts question, because with racing year-round, but now you have a wife and a couple of kids. Do you make time to take, a week or a couple of weeks off of vacation to spend time with the kids? No, it's not easy, the job that we have. But when you do have time, you have to take advantage of it, I'm very fortunate that my family goes everywhere with me. So like right now, they're at home watching this. There you go. And how old are your kids? Brody will be 5 in October, and my younger son Luke will be 2 in September. And your wife's name? Jamie. If they're home watching, we gotta give them. Hi guys. Give them all credit, absolutely. I'm going to ask you another little nuts and bolts question. I find this interesting. Give us a typical day. We'll do a typical day up here at Saratoga, which may be a little bit busier. But take us from when the alarm clock goes off in the morning. What time does it go off? And then take us all the way to when you finally go home for dinner at night. Get up between 5:30, and one thing that I missed while I was in Kentucky is Dunkin' Donuts. Just thank God there's one here. So stop at Dunkin' Donuts, get to the track. I usually send my agent a text message when I get here, and he'll swing by on a golf cart and pick me up, and we're kind of off and running from there. When I have horses to get on, he'll drop me off. I get on the horses, and in between my appointments, we go around and talk to trainers, do the PR work with owners, trainers, and try and build the best business we can.
So that takes you through the morning until about what time?
Until about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
And from there, back home?
If I have time, I'll go home and, relax a little bit, get changed. If not, go straight to the jocks room. Usually have to go in the hot box, just lose a pound or two, get out, stretch,
donuts.
drink. Yeah, no, just coffee, no donuts.
And this is another question that I wanted to ask a jockey. Let's say you have a race, you're in the second race, let's say, and then your next mount is in the seventh race. How do you spend your time?
Thank God for iPads. You just kind of relax, and every jocks room kind of has a different layout or different atmosphere. Here they have a little outside part. Some of them have ping pong tables or a pool table. Some of them have a sleeping room, which is like a dark room that has bunk beds in it. You can go in and take a nap. So, there's things that you can do to kill time.
And what is your prep work involved? I'm sure you don't just go out and meet with the trainer and hop on the horse and that's it. How much time do you spend preparing, looking at past performances, and maybe even do you look at video replays?
Oh yeah, they have replay machines in the jocks room. And, you go through each race, look at who you think the horses to beat are, who you think the speed of the race is, where you think you should be, what you think your horse's best race is, and try and kind of ride it similar to that. And there's a lot of thought into it.
And I had Jerry Bailey on the other morning, and he mentioned, and we were talking about it in terms of sports in general. I mean, baseball, they have the scouting reports on the hitters and the pitchers and whatnot. Do you pay attention and try to find out the traits of some of the other jockeys? So when you're out there on the track,
sure. Yeah, like there's certain guys I love to follow because turning for home they'll move out a little bit, or when they go left-handed they're going to drift out. And you ride with guys long enough, you'll pick up on little tendencies that absolutely help you.
And give us an idea, the first full season at Saratoga.